Happy Friday, April 25th, 2025. We've got a major severe weather outbreak shaping up for the plains and Midwest early next week, and we have to talk about that. Looking ahead to Monday, April 28th, the Storm Prediction Center has already highlighted a significant severe weather threat here. They've issued a large 30% probability area, which is equivalent to an enhanced risk, that's a 3 out of 5, stretching from eastern Kansas and northern Missouri up through much of Iowa and into southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. This includes major cities like Kansas City, Omaha, Des Moines, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Madison. Surrounding that, we have a very large 15% probability area, or a slight risk, covering places like Chicago, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Wichita. So this is setting up to be a potentially dangerous situation impacting millions of people. So what's driving this is what us weather people like to call an upper level trough. But we can just call it a dip in the jet stream here because that's what it is, and you can see that powerful jet stream energy rounding the base of this trough, providing strong lift in the atmosphere right over the plains just in time for that ample Gulf moisture to interact with it and cause our big storm. On Sunday evening, as a result of that lift in the atmosphere, we are going to have a low pressure system form in Colorado and move off to the north and east, pulling up tons of moisture with it, increasing the surface winds, increasing the wind shear, and just setting the stage for a major severe weather outbreak from Monday into Tuesday. One of the things we're going to have no shortage of here is CAPE. All right, so convective available potential energy. Every run shows a higher amount of this stuff, and just think of this as gasoline. Pure diesel fuel for thunderstorms out here in Iowa, down into Missouri and Kansas. We're talking about over 3,000 joules per kilogram. On top of this, we're going to have a very impressive warm sector with tons of moisture, making it as far north as past Minneapolis. We're talking about 60s, 70s dew points out here. Some of the most ample moisture is going to be right over here in Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma, which is a place where I'm quite concerned about the tornado threat. If the cap breaks, we talked about this yesterday, we're almost certainly going to have a widespread severe weather situation up here in Iowa and Missouri and Wisconsin, which is why we had that increased probability. But we have slightly less confidence in the exact amount of storms and the intensity of the storms farther south because there's going to be a warm layer of air above the warm air at the surface, keeping it from rising. And if that happens, if that stays in place, we won't have very many storms down here. But if it erodes, if that warm air aloft gets moved out of the way, or if it cools off in the evening, there's going to be an explosive moment where we could have very powerful supercells down here, and we need to be watching out for that. Crucially, all of this instability is going to combine with very strong amounts of wind shear to lead to rotating supercells and potentially embedded tornadoes even inside of squall lines. This is going to be a problem in both areas, whether you're on the southern part of the risk or the northern part of the risk. The tornado threat's going to be quite substantial here. In fact, already the Storm Prediction Center is explicitly mentioning the potential for strong tornadoes, EF2 or greater intensity within that 30% risk area especially, which is not very common for us to see on a day 4 outlook. And then as we look even farther into the future, day 5, Tuesday, April 29th, the severe weather threat is going to move farther to the east and impact even more people from Canada into New York, back down through the Ohio Valley into northern Texas. This is covering some major cities like Detroit, Indianapolis, Columbus, Fort Worth, and Oklahoma City. You see, our surface low, which is going to be responsible for the storms on Monday, is going to continue to move north and east into Canada, and that's going to drape a cold front down through this area, and there's still going to be tons of instability and wind shear out in front of that cold front, so we do expect organized storm clusters and potentially a few supercells capable of producing damaging winds, hail, and perhaps a few tornadoes, though the overall threat on Tuesday does look a little bit more wind and hail oriented versus Monday. It doesn't look like Tuesday has as much of a bad look as far as rotating supercells go, but that of course could change, and we're going to have more updates for you as we go forward, and we're about to dig much deeper into that. But first, we have to shout out today's awesome sponsor, Sundays for Dogs, fresh dog food made easy. A lot of you guys might not know this, but I'm a huge dog lover. My wife and I have had our dog Luna since 2019, and she's the star of the show around the Weather House. And you know, we're always searching for the best food for her, and Sundays has given us that for Luna. Sundays is fresh dog food made from human-grade ingredients, 100% meat muscle, organs, and superfoods, and zero synthetics or artificial preservatives. Sundays has cleaner ingredients than frozen dog foods, but you can just pour it right from the bag because it's shelf stable. Once we made the switch to Sundays, we could tell Luna loved it immediately. Luna was a little bit of a picky eater before, but now she comes running when she hears the bag. The whole family agrees with her excitement. I think this is the best decision we've made for her health. Why don't you give your dog the chance to fall in love with Sundays as well? All you got to do is click that link in the description. You're going to get 50% off your first order by clicking that link, going right here to sundaysfordogs.com/Ryan Hall, or you can just use my code Ryan Hall at checkout, and that's going to get you 50% off your first order. So yeah, it's good stuff. If you got a dog, go check it out. Or if you know somebody with a dog, send this to them. I think they're really going to like it. So link in the description. Thank you, Sundays, for sponsoring this video and making Luna so happy. Now let's get back into the video. Stepping back to Sunday, April 27th, 2025, we have another area to watch, though not as significant as Monday or Tuesday's setup. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a 2 out of 5 slight risk across parts of central Nebraska and southern South Dakota, including places like Kearney and North Platte. A broader 1 out of 5 marginal risk goes from Mexico plumb up to Canada here, including most of the plains. We're talking about all of South Dakota, North Dakota, most of Kansas out here in Nebraska. And get ready for some storms as we go into the day on Sunday. And this, of course, is associated with that same upper level trough or dip in the jet stream. There's going to be tons of moisture flying up here, just kind of setting the stage for our bigger severe weather outbreak that will happen on Monday. So this will be kind of like the event before the event, but still several isolated tornadoes and hail events are going to be very possible on Sunday. So make sure you are ready for that. And then coming all the way back to today, Friday, April 25th, 2025, we've got a slight risk of severe weather down here in the panhandle of Texas into extreme southern and southwestern Oklahoma. This is the same area that we were talking about last night during our live stream, where we had some really incredible views of some supercells out here. It looks like that same kind of thing is going to be possible today as big storms start popping up around Wichita Falls and Childress, back towards Lubbock and Amarillo, maybe around 4 or 5 p.m. Those are very quickly going to explode into supercells capable of producing large hail and some isolated tornadoes between 6 and 9 p.m. Some of those stronger storms will be between Perryton and Amarillo. I wouldn't be surprised again tonight to see baseball size hail or larger. Last night we had grapefruit size hail and DVD size hail in this area. So we know it can happen. And if that ends up hitting a place that has a car lot, or if you've got your vehicle out of the garage, or even if you've got a well-built home, DVD sized hail is going to cause some damage. So make sure you're ready for that, and make sure you have those alerts turned on, because it's going to be a loud night of severe weather in this portion of Texas. The storms are likely going to form into a mesoscale convective system, move through Wichita Falls, back down into the Red River Valley as we go into the early morning hours tomorrow. Those storms probably won't quite make it to Dallas, but they'll cause a couple rumbles of thunder in Oklahoma City and Tulsa as we go into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow, where the storms will continue into Arkansas and Louisiana, but it doesn't look like there's going to be much of a severe weather threat there. Our main focus is going to continue to be Monday and Tuesday. Looking at the overall pattern, we are having a little bit of a chilly snap over here in the East Coast, down into the Ohio Valley. It's not that big of a deal, but that slightly cooler air will hang on for a little while as a heat wave moves into the picture here. We're going to have very much above average temperatures on Tuesday out ahead of that cold front. This will spark scattered showers and thunderstorms all the way up into the northeast. And of course, right on that boundary between the cooler and the warmer air, we're going to have very strong thunderstorms. And then whenever that cold front comes through, we're going to have another little cold snap or chilly snap, whatever you want to call it, for early May. It's really not going to be cold, just slightly cooler than usual. That's going to stick around for a while, so things will feel less like May over here in the Appalachian region up into the mid-Atlantic and the northeast, maybe even into the deep south. It'll feel a little bit more like early April maybe. So we do have another area of very warm temperatures building up in the west though, which will likely move off to the east as time goes on, and we'll go through this song and dance again with another big storm system. Here's our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. So between May 2nd and May 8th, we expect there to be above average temperatures for most everyone, especially up there in the northern portions of the U.S. in Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Wyoming. And this is going to be combined with some below average precipitation rates in the Great Lakes region, the Ohio Valley, back into the upper Midwest. This is a contrast to what we've been seeing over the past little bit. So the next couple of days, the next week or so, we're actually going to have above average rainfall in this area, but that's going to calm down a little bit as we go into early May. And that's all the weather talk I have for you today. today, we're going to be able to be much more detailed on the major severe weather outbreak that's likely to happen on Monday, tomorrow, because we're going to have some more high resolution data. And then Sunday, we're going to have a really chock full of information video coming out about both Monday and Tuesday. And then we will likely be live Monday and Tuesday here on this channel. So please subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on. And if you like this video, slap the like button. It helps out a lot. That's pretty much it. Thank you to Sundays for sponsoring this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.